You left your job, right?
Yes.
Since when?
December of 2017.
2017?
Yes.
And you've been doing fitness since 2017 of December.
August.
Without
August of 2018, I was doing fitness, but I left Verizon December of 2017.
And what made you say I'm going to quit and just do fitness?
So what was happening was it was a call center. That's not my passion. But really, it was the fact that it was a lot of overweight women in the job, and they would come down the aisle with snacks on like a rollie. And of course, I would purchase, once in a while, and I just would get depressed. And just seeing the rack come down the aisle, and I'm trying to do something different. So I'm bringing my juices. I'm trying to be healthy, and to see the rack, it's like that's what I think about. That's what I'm thinking about right now. So that was kind of like that was like the breaking point. Besides just having a job, going in every day, not making enough money, not being happy, but that was like the breaking point for me.
And you became an entrepreneur.
Yes, actually, I took like a little mental health break from work, and then went into working at Planet Fitness. So I wasn't an entrepreneur yet, no. But I followed my dreams. Yeah.
But when did you become a full-time entrepreneur?
Oh, March of 2020, the pandemic.
And what made you say, all right, I'm leaving everything I could sustain and maintain on my own?
I had no choice. I had no gym to go to. I had no job to go to. Everything was closed. So I had $20. I had moved from Maryland, and after like a divorce, moved to Maryland, from Maryland to New York. And I was going to go work at somebody's gym, and all the gyms was closed. So I still had clients in Maryland that wanted to train virtually. So I just started, and it picked up after that. Like I went from 1 client to 20 easily, like literally.
And
just posted.
How did you find an apartment?
I went to live back with my mother.
Gotcha. And when did you move out from living with your mother?
November 2020.
Damn.
Oh yeah.
So it happened that fast.
I was grinding. I was not playing.
So how you don't have a fear
No.
of never being able to pay the rent 1 month
No.
because of entrepreneurship?
I'm always a month ahead. So like I pay my rent sometime every 3 weeks. As soon as I get that rent money, it's going right there before I do anything else.
So right now you're 3 months ahead in your rent.
I said I pay my rent every 3 weeks. So as soon as I get that money for my rent, as soon as I get that amount,
right,
I'm gonna pay the rent again. So I guess you would say I'm like a month in advance. I have the month already.
And how did you find out about you work in like a gym boutique, right?
Yes.
How you found out about that?
He found me online on Instagram. And he hit me up and was like, hey, I see you training virtually and training in the park, training in your mom's backyard. Do you want to come work at my gym? And I was like, sure. And I just went, and I liked it. And I'm there. I've been there almost 2 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So you said you came from a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
What made that come to an end?
Just a difference in personality. Ignored some, now I won't say red flags, but ignored deal breakers. Thinking not really that you could change the person because the person wanted to change, but just saying, okay, I know that I could be an asset, if you want to change. So, and he was a nice guy. He's still a great person, but it was 2 completely different lifestyles.
Nice guy. You heard the term "nice guys finish last"?
I've heard it.
You feel like that's true?
No.
Why not?
Because, I don't believe it. Because I'm a nice person. I feel like I don't finish last.
You're a woman.
So?
You're talking about nice guys.
Well, nice people. There's a lot of people that are nice, women too, that get taken advantage of too, on a daily.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that it has a man thing. I think that's like human thing, like nice humans finish last. If I'll say I would agree, but I don't necessarily agree. No.
So you feel like men and women are all should be held to the same standard?
No, not at all.
What's the difference
between men and women?
Yeah.
Women, we are emotional. We are nurturers. Men are logical, and they're providers and protectors. They go outside and they do things that we don't want to do. They keep the world going for real on a different level than women do. We keep it going by producing children. Y'all do too, but men go out there and do like the hard work, like build buildings and stuff. Not saying that women are not on it, but it's only probably like one woman to like 5 men. You know what I mean? So we ain't really doing nothing.
And that number might even be.
And that number's a stretch, right. Definitely.
How do you know when somebody loves you? How do you know if someone truly loves you?
Truly, I don't think you would ever really know that. I don't think you would ever really know that. People have motives. People, do things for their own reasons. But how do I think somebody loves you is like they make compromises for you. They make changes for you. When I say like changes, like things that they might necessarily not always want to do.
All right, so there's this thing going around, right? So everybody talk about is this lady with the rose and she had a rose. They said she like caught a seizure or something like that. You think that masturbation is ruining like the connection between people in relationships?
I think masturbation is ruining people, period. But relationships, because if you and your partner is into that, it could spice things up. So I don't think necessarily relationships, but I think that it's like ruining people, period, and expectations. That's what I think about.
Why though?
Because the rose, no man or woman could do what the rose could do. So if you're going into it thinking like, all right, well, this is what your substitution is, you're never going to be pleased by a human because they're not going to be able to live up to that. So you're going out there with false expectations of what sex could be like, or what you think it should be like, or what it actually is. And that's just ruining you. Like, you're not going to have a successful sex life after that, after you've had the rose or the pocket pussy.
What's a pocket pussy?
One of those little like silicone, and you can put your penis in there, and it's tight. And they got the throat thing too now. Like,
well, I'm not hip on that. Everything you said is true. Porn too. Mm-hmm. So you go in there thinking that she already supposed to be ready. Mm-hmm. But you got to take your time and do what you need to do.
Absolutely.
So that kind of put my brain in a whole weird space. Like, yo, this is messing me up. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like as a man, if you have a woman, not all the time, but you should be horny every time you see your lady. That's how I feel. Because if you're not touching yourself, right, and then you guys are doing what you're supposed to be doing, your mind's not on sex a lot. When you see her, it should always be sexual tension there. If you're in the room, people should know that y'all dating just by the energy. You should be able to look at your woman in a party, and she look at you, and she knows you're ready to go, and vice versa.
What if you're not a super sexual person?
We're not talking about that.
Yes, we are. You saying if you see a couple in a room that you should be able to tell. What if he or she is not like a sexual person? How could you tell?
So you trying to say that if we were dating, you were sexual and I was non-sexual. What's sexual or non-sexual though?
It just might not be sex all the time.
I agree with that. There's this energy, period. The way we connect, period.
Right, but that energy is going to be a little lower for a couple that's not having sex all the time. versus a couple that you could look, because you could look at certain couples like that couple on Instagram, the guy Tyler something and Miracle Watts, I believe her name is. I don't know, that might not be her name, I don't know, but
yeah.
They're very popular. Like he's like in the club smacking her behind or whatever. You can look at them through the pictures and be like, oh, they having amazing sex.
Mm-hmm.
But then you could look at another couple. I don't get sex when I look at Jay-Z and Beyonce. I'm not saying that they're not sexual, but I don't get sex when I see them, ever. I mean, I know they probably have...
You don't look at them and be like, yo, damn, I know my man Jay-Z
I
crazy
don't.
on that.
Not until today. The song Drunken Love. It was like on YouTube. Basically them in the studio, and he was like, until I sling that wood and you can handle that curve. And Beyonce like perked up and was like, oh Lord. That's the first time I ever looked at them and was like, oh, they probably getting crazy.
Yeah.
You know, so every couple doesn't give that off.
I think Jay-Z and Beyonce is different because first of all, they're not on the scene as much. Mm-hmm. And they're conscious of the way they carry themselves. So it will be hard to see that unless you know them.
Right, but then that's a couple that you might see in the street that carries themselves in a certain way, and you... What you mean? No, what's the difference? Just because they Beyonce and Jay-Z?
It ain't about that. It said you're not in the room with them.
But if you was in a room with them,
mm-hmm.
you don't always think that you're going to get that vibe.
I think you know when somebody's relationship was going to last long, and when it's not going to last long.
Oh, so now we're talking about sex and then lasting.
Because it's not... I think you mentioned that it was also non-sexual, right? Like,
what?
Like this chemistry, people just being able to read the energy between two people.
Okay, so how do you be in a room with two people that have been sleeping with each other for a long time and nobody knows?
Somebody's going to know.
Nah, nobody knows.
Somebody's going to know.
Because somebody probably told them, or they probably did something else. But if you come in a room, so you think that at work, there's people at your job and you know everybody that's sleeping with each other. You don't think there's one couple, or one group of people, two people in there, of course, that might have had sex and you have no idea.
That's possible.
It's very possible.
But I'm saying, all right, listen, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm not even going to say you're wrong. I'm not going to say you're wrong because that's true. People do know how to hold it down more.
Right.
You told me before that you ever take discounts when you training?
Family.
But what's the discount?
I just wouldn't charge them what I would charge everybody else.
And you training your mom, right?
Yeah.
How's that?
She pays me in food.
In food?
Yeah. She'll go to BJ's, pick me up some eggs. Really, because I don't feel like going all the way to BJ's and stand in the line. But she's not going to ask me for the money back. She bought me a pack of chicken because I'm not going all the way to BJ's for a pack of chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Gotcha.
She'll bring me an orange every session. Things that she knows that I like. But other than that, that's it.
Oh, that's dope.
Mm-hmm.
How's your mom progressing?
She's progressing amazing. I'm really, really proud of her, actually. She's doing such a good job. It's actually, besides the training part, it's just dope to be teaching her something. You know, like, I'm the mom in the gym, in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I have to even be like, yo, come on, what you doing? But I think that it's also dope because she gets to see me in a professional setting and she gets to see what she put into me. So something I say to her, be like, Mom, come on, you got to be determined. That's a word that I heard for all my life. Like, nah, Shatia, determination. You got to be determined. Oh, that's not happening because you're not being determined. You're not determined. So now, like, me talking back.
Mirroring.
Right. And she's looking at me like, I knew that was going to bite me in the ass. That's what she said this week. I knew that this attitude that you had was going to bite me in the ass one day. But I think it's pretty dope that she's coming and putting her fitness journey in my hands.
Right. You was big at one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did you... What was that like? Like, at one point, when did you become honest with yourself and say, yo, I look crazy, I'm big?
Probably at like 10.
10 years old?
I've been big. I was big my whole entire life. Like, I was always taller than all the kids. I was always the girl at the back of the line. Always been tall. But I started getting heavy. I always held weight, too, because even when I was younger, they was still telling me I was obese, but I never been like sloppy, out of control. From what I now look at the pictures, I be like, damn, you was sloppy. But, it didn't look like that to me from some things that you see now. But from the time I was like 10, I just was like, nah, this is not my life. I can't be like this. I always had the vision that I was going to be where I am now. I just didn't know how I was going to get there.
You got teased in school?
All the time. My whole entire school, all the way up to college.
So that played a part in the way you carry yourself today?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm never going back to that.
Never going back to that.
You believe in afterlife? Like, you believe once we leave here, we go somewhere else?
Yes, I do believe that.
Like heaven or hell?
No, not heaven or hell.
What
just
is
another dimension, just somewhere else.
And we just live there.
Yeah.
We just reside there.
And we can come back through here if when the time is needed.
I don't understand that.
So I'll give you an example. My father was dying of cancer in the hospital. His last week, he didn't speak for like a month. He couldn't really speak. His throat was really clogged and dry and all this stuff, so he couldn't speak. His last week, he had a burst of energy. He continued to look at a corner in the hospital room the entire time. Now, truly, he was on like morphine and stuff like that, but he never took his eyes off of there to where he was like, Grandma, I'm coming. I'm coming. So the night that he actually passed, I went up there to spend the night with him in the hospital, and he kept saying he was transitioning. It was crazy to watch him transition. So he's sitting there talking to me like, Tia, you gotta forgive me. Grandma, hold on, I'm coming. Now, he wasn't on morphine because they kept coming in to give him the pills, and he was spitting it out. So he really wasn't high off of any of the drugs or anything like that. But he kept saying, Grandma, I'm coming. Tia, you gotta forgive me. I love you. Play the song, play the music. Hold on, Grandma, I'm coming. Tell him I'm coming. He could wait for me. I'm coming right now. You gotta forgive me. Like, he was on both sides. And he kept saying like, are you in the car now? You in the car now? And he wasn't talking to me. And that made me look at death completely different. I'm like, oh, nah. His grandmother's been dead since like 76. You know what I'm saying? So I don't believe he was bugging. I believe he was transitioning from this life to the next. And his grandmother was there. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't saying that the whole time before. And all of a sudden, on his last days and his last week, that's what he kept saying. Like, I would never say that he didn't see what he seen. You know, like, I've never been close to death, so I can't say, but.
So you think that when people pass away, they can still be in our presence?
Yeah, I do. I feel like, why not? I feel like if we was using majority of our brains, we could probably be somewhere else too. We could probably do other things. We only use a small portion, so who knows what we really could do, what we're really capable of. The TV, the microwave is bringing down our frequency, so who knows? You know, we're so calcified that you don't know what we could really do.
So you think, before we got to this time, right? Because everything was natural way back when. Who knows when, right? Mm-hmm. You think people were able to see spirits or do things differently than we do now today? That consciousness was higher back then?
Yeah. I haven't personally read a book about it, but I've listened to enough people that believe in history talk about like spirits and things like that. So I don't see why not. I know that we're completely just probably walking dead now because the phone, you know, the TV, the constant phone, the microwave, all the horrible food. So we don't see nothing. We can't even see what's for real in front of us now, you know? So I definitely believe that.
Like that, The Matrix.
Oh, yeah. I never seen that either, though.
Never seen the movie?
Nah.
It's basically what you're saying.
I would love to see. Actually, I've been hearing about it, so I would love to see it now.
Yeah, you have to see like part one, like watch all of them. Yeah. But part one is really the one that's, when we start talking about it, I said, wow, we living in that.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's crazy.
Like a false reality, a false world.
Oh, yeah.
Like we're in, like being on Instagram is a world.
No, you could feel it. You could feel it. It's not the same. Like, um, my personal opinion is like, that's how I think about dating online. Like, I would never do that. It wouldn't get that bad for me. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? But it just wouldn't. Like, because that's a whole nother world. Like, you literally, like, mm. That's not even how it really works in real life. You're not walking down the street like, you really got to engage with somebody. You're not engaging with these people. You don't really know if you like them. You just don't like what they look like in that particular picture. That's crazy. And then when you do like them, they look completely different than what they do in the picture.
Right.
So that's not real life. That's not even. That's nowhere near reality.
And there's no way to fix it.
No. The only way to fix it is you got to become unsocially awkward and you got to get out here and talk to people. That's the only way to fix that.
So social media is, you know what's crazy? Social media gives people so many options.
Options for what?
To meet people. But like, in order for me to speak to you, I had to have your number.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't have your number, I can't talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
But now, even if I don't have your number, I have access to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really need your number.
No, you don't need my number.
And that's what took away the communication.
I mean, that's subjective. You know, some people, everybody don't need to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the person, like, you can hit me up on social media if you want to. I don't have to answer you. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have access to me.
That's true.
What? Because you can see my pictures? That don't mean nothing.
Right. It's all about, damn, that's true.
Yeah, that's subjective.
Yeah. Only if you allow the access.
Because there's mad people that got your number that don't have access to you.
Don't have access to it. They don't even use it.
Right. Or if they did, they still don't have access to it.
Because I have to answer.
Exactly. You have to allow that.
Wow. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. I look at Instagram. That's why I don't put my personal life on there too much. I look at it as work. That's all. If you're not in my real life, just like if we went to high school together and you didn't see me from high school, you don't know what's going on in my life. I don't see half the people on Instagram. They don't need to know what's going on in my life.
True.
It's not your business.
Right.
And it's not saying like I'm keeping that from you. It's not your business.
Right.
You don't need to know that. Only thing if you need to know something, you just need to know I'm a trainer and this is what I do all day. Anything else, you see it if I allow you to, or you don't.
It's more or less a tool.
That's it. I use it as a tool to make money.
And anything else is a distraction.
What, on there?
Yeah.
Definitely. I had to delete and mute a lot of people, even that I'm cool with.
Because it's clouding your...
Yeah, because
You don't want to see that.
I don't want to see that, and I don't want to judge. And a lot of times when you know people and you see what they put on social media, you're like, oh, come
This person
on.
being fake.
This person, no, damn, and I don't want to do that all the time. Because a person will make you do that all the time from the things that they put on social media. You know what I'm saying? Like subconsciously. Even if you just like, even if you go and go to the next, you just judge them real quick. Like,
So how much time you think is, not you personally, how much time you think is being consumed on social media to take away from the things you could be doing?
all day. Any amount of time that you're on social media and you're not working, you're taking away from something. I believe there's always something to do outside of social media. Whether it's clean your house, whether it's cook, whether it's go walk, whether it's read a book, take care of your kids, whatever. So anytime you spending on there and you're not being productive, it's a waste of time.
So how much time do you spend on social media daily?
Working. Whenever you really see me post, like I might sit in the bed like right before I go to sleep, or if I'm just like waiting for a client, but like all day, I had to stop doing that. Because you wind up going down a rabbit hole of things that you're really not supposed to even be concerning yourself with. So what I like to do is get on, look at the people that I follow, which is mostly trainers, which I consider that's work because I get inspiration from that. But if I'm just looking at people's page and all that, I don't do that too much. So I can't really give you a number, but I'm definitely not sitting on there all day.
So people with no, I don't want to call it a purpose, but no special interest, they're genuinely just throwing their life away. Because wasting time is like kind of almost like wasting your life in a sense, no?
Well, there's a lot of people that's not gonna find their passion.
Damn.
You know, so I don't want to say that they're wasting their life away, because they could be doing something meaningful, or they could be in their purpose and not even know it, which that is a lot of the case. Like, you'll see somebody that constantly is taking care of other people. That's their purpose, and they just don't even know it, to where they might be stressed about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, why I'm always the one? Because that's your calling. You know what I mean? But so I don't want to say that they're wasting. They're just unintentionally, that's the word, right? Unintentionally doing it, and they just don't know. They're not putting into their purpose intentionally. I'll say that. Some people might like to, watch TV all the time and, make critiques about it. I mean, that's how people have jobs. People do that for a living. They should just probably be making money off it, but they're not. But I don't know if that's making sense. I don't want to say like they're necessarily wasting.
I get what you're saying.
Their time.
They're not capitalizing.
Yeah.
Off the situation.
Yeah, and it doesn't always have to be just money. Capitalizing off.
No, it's not always money, because
Mm-hmm.
manipulation is not always a bad thing.
Right.
And capitalization is not always gaining profit.
Exactly. So I don't want to say that somebody's wasting their time. I don't feel like, I'm somebody to say like, oh, you wasting your time.
Got you. I like that.
Yeah.
What about like right now? Me personally, I feel like men and women are like almost at like a silent war, and I think it's been a thing from way back. Like, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, but most men now have more feminine traits than masculine traits. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're looking for a man, what things are you looking for?
Well, I believe that
in terms of masculinity. Sorry,
I believe that men have more feminine traits, first of all, by accident. But I believe that they have more feminine traits because a lot of them are raised by their mothers, so they don't really have. It's not their fault. I don't believe that it's a war, unless that's your mindset. Because I'm not at war with any man. And a lot of women, feminine women, are not. A lot of masculine women are at war with men. And I believe more so on the woman's side being at war than the men, whether he's feminine or masculine. I don't think he's at war with the women either, to be honest with you. But when I'm looking for a man, I'm kind of just like looking for him to be confident first and foremost. And then we could go from there. I gotta see what's going on after that.
So the finances don't play a big role?
Once I get to know you, once we talking about, oh, you're my man now, but not always 100% either, because he might be trying to figure some things out. He's human. He's entitled to do that. So he might not have it 100% to go and splurge or take you out here. We might have to do some like Starbucks meetups or something like that. Everybody has their moment where they might be looking for their purpose. So he might have left his job. He don't have the finances that I may have at the moment, or vice versa. So I'm never looking like in a man's pocket. Now, if he's a bum, he don't work for no money, he has no goals, then no. But if he's trying to figure it out and he's a hard worker and maybe just down on his luck right now, listen, we could do it. We can make it happen.
And you gonna push him to get there?
I'm gonna try in a feminine way. I'm gonna give him like positive affirmations. I'm gonna let him know he could do it. I'm gonna let him know that he's the best at it. If I see that, and I'm gonna also tell him like, hey, if you really want this, you might have to work a little harder. Like I am gonna try to push him to be who he says that he is, or from what I could see. I'm never trying to I'm definitely looking for false potential though, because I feel like women, that's where sometimes we mess up. We set false potential for somebody, Like, you know, like if he said, yeah, I want to be this person, and you like, yeah, baby, you can do it, but you know he don't have no work ethic. You know what I'm saying? He showed you that, but you in your mind made yourself believe like, oh, nah, he's gonna be an astronaut, and he ain't never did nothing compared at all to be an astronaut.
Crazy,
right? That's you setting false potential for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So no, we're not gonna do that. But if he's putting the work in, he's constantly doing this and constantly doing that and showing you, then yeah, I'm gonna definitely do what I gotta do to try to make sure that he believes in himself.
Now, what's the deal breaker?
Cigarettes.
Damn, they can't smoke cigarettes?
No.
That's the only deal breaker?
That's one. That's a major one for me. Absolutely.
Give me 4 more, if you can.
4?
Give me 3.
Okay. So cigarettes is definitely number 1. A lack of confidence is definitely number 2. I want to say that's number 1, but we'll put that at number 2. No work ethic. That's number 3. And I'm gonna say, like, if he don't take care of himself, like, you know, do something to take care of himself, some type of physical activity, I probably can't mess with him either.
So he don't have to be Dwayne Johnson?
No, not at all. I don't even, Dwayne too big for me.
Okay,
I don't like that.
Yeah.
But he gotta do something.
Like play basketball, ride a bike, some physical activity. He just can't.
Jog.
Right.
Something, yeah. He gotta sustain life.
How is it? Do you think that you're like a like when you're doing these trainings and because you train mostly women, right?
Only women.
Only women?
Only women.
Why?
Because men could go into a gym, not know nothing, and go into the gym, and in a week he'll have it. He's not really as intimidated. Women, on the other hand, like, they literally believe, like, I just have to go do cardio and that's it. Like, I feel like they don't have the inner strength that y'all have as well. Like, most men, like, even if he's a big boy, he never works out, he could pump out a push-up or 2. Women, like, we don't have that all the time, you know what I mean? So my goal is to help them find confidence in that space as well as confidence within themselves. And it's just, I guess it's a personal thing for me. That's why I only train women, because I want them to feel how I feel about myself. You know, so I'm sorry, men are not really I used to be, and they cry a little bit more than women do, too. They complain more than women do in the gym. And then when they don't want to do it, they want to charm you. And they're going to see a whole nother side of me if they try doing that. So I'd rather just stick with the ladies.
Damn, I'm a trainer as well. Mm-hmm. So I don't think men cry more than...
Because he's not going to do it with you. That's his ego. He's never going to let you see him like that. But he's going to come down for me. At first, he going to come in there with his ego. I've trained men in the past, and they'll come in like, nah, I could do 2 plates, chest press. I'm like, all right, bring it down, though. Like, bring it to your chest. Mm-hmm. Can't do it. So then he'll be like,
range of motion.
Right. Then they'll be like, all right, let me just take 10 pounds off. Still can't do it. And then you got to bring him down. You got to bring his ego down. You know what I mean? But they will. I've seen them push harder for men than he would push hard for me, too. Because it's still taking orders from a woman at the end of the day.
And that does what?
For men?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a man. So I couldn't tell you what that really
What did you think it does? Your answers are so on point. Scary.
I think it might be. I think it might be emasculating for them to take orders from us.
Yeah.
Okay. Some men are teachable. Some are not. That might be also a sign of insecurity, not being able to take any advice or direction from a woman. It depends. To me, it really depends on the person.
I think a woman is gonna tell a man exactly who he is.
Absolutely.
Because they can see through the man better than other men.
Some.
But I think majority times. But I think, like, if you're really a good woman who could really, I don't know. I don't know the words I'm looking for. But I do know. I just feel like a woman, when they get around you long enough, they're gonna tell you who you are. That's the scary part.
Some. Because some of them don't. Some women don't know themselves either, so they can't tell. You got to know yourself. You got to be self-aware to be able to look at somebody else. You can't just be not knowing what's up and then like, oh, I can read well. No, you can't.
If you can't even read yourself.
You can't read yourself.
How important is discipline?
Very important. It's so important that you could look at a person and tell they're not disciplined.
Damn.
No, seriously.
Nah.
You can literally look at a person and tell. That's where the fitness, where I said you kind of got to do some type of physical activity. That's discipline. Being able to get up every day or every couple of days and do something. So when you see a lot of heavier people out here, they don't have discipline. There's nothing no one can tell me. Unless they have a health issue.
Confidence and discipline. You can't have one without the other.
It's a thin line.
If somebody has confidence with no discipline,
I don't believe they really have full confidence.
it's a facade.
It can be. Or it's, how do you call it? Like extra. Like, maybe facade is it. Like an imploded confidence in a sense. Like they just putting it on. I guess that's a facade in a sense.
It's like a mask.
Yeah. But if you self-aware, you can see right through that. I'm not even gonna get really into it. I had something to say. No. I'm never trying to offend nobody.
You can't offend me.
Not you.
Oh, whoever. Just say it.
Nah. But you could look straight through everything and be like, if you self-aware for real, you conscious for real, you could look right through every little thing that a person could do.
Give me an example.
A person that has to go and maybe go get a car for the weekend or something like that. Instead of sticking to what the person does. Like, they drive this, but they might have to go get something else if they're going to pick up a date or something like that. Like, you're not really happy. You low-key lack gratitude. You know what I'm saying? For what you have. So I could see through who you really are. I could tell, like, you lack gratitude. Because really, if you have these other things, why do you have to go do that? If you're doing that on your own for yourself, like I'm going to rent a car because this is how I want to be. But when you got to only go and do it for somebody else, I could see through that. I could be like, nah, you're really not happy here. This is really who you are. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That was like best example that I can come up with.
I'm going to give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I have, not me, I'm using me. I have a Honda Accord. 1999, 2020. It's paid off. I meet you. I say, damn, I just met this bad fitness trainer. I'm about to get an Audi for the weekend. We gonna go on a nice date. I like gratitude.
Why did you have to do that?
I'm asking. Is that example?
You insecure about the car you drive.
I'm insecure of the car I drive and I like gratitude?
Maybe not. Well, yeah, because you have a car and you're not grateful for it.
Right.
You could have no car. So you're not grateful for what you have. That's a lack of gratitude for me.
So I'm using that to impress you opposed
to being who you really are and where you really are.
So you think things take away, or the perception of having things take away from the personality?
Yes, because I could feel like, I just met this bad trainer and he got a Honda that's paid off. And the reason why he got this is because he might be saving to get a gym. That's fly to me because he made a good sacrifice to get what he really wants for now, opposed to having something that he really can't afford to be able to do both. That doesn't impress me. What impresses me is that you about to go get that gym, not this car that you have that really gets us from here to there. That's why I never understand people that have like those foreign cars and that think that they better than the other person. Like, oh, you just drive a Honda Accord. We go in the same place. You about to be stuck in the same traffic I am. You paying the same expensive gas prices that I'm paying right now. What's the difference except the fact that you paying $2,000 a month, meaning that where you live is probably also a little different from where I live. I could live in a way better neighborhood than you can. I'm driving a Honda, you driving a Mercedes, you might live in a basement, I might live in a house. That doesn't impress me, and I never understood that. Or even people that do live in certain environments and they do have wow expensive cars, and you don't, but everybody's likes is different. You know what I mean? So I don't look at them as like, oh, they dumb. I just, when they start thinking they better than you, that's when I have the problem. Like, don't ever say nothing about my Honda Accord.
Comparison.
Yeah, for what? That's for you.
Yeah. I think a lot of people look down on people.
They do
these days.
Oh, please, with everything, it's crazy.
You think beauty equates to? I heard someone say before, I look a certain way, so I should be treated a certain way. Like, I see that all the time. Like, because you're beautiful, bad, whatever, you supposed to be like put on a higher pedestal.
No, I don't believe that. I believe who you are, you should be put on a different pedestal. I don't feel like nobody should be put on a pedestal because, first, I believe that you shouldn't be put on a pedestal because that means now, if you put me on a pedestal, I gotta kind of like be perfect for you because you have me up here. You're not allowing me to really be who I am. I gotta always be like good, you know, like, because I know Rel looks at me a certain kind of way. So you change that person when you put them on a pedestal. But your looks, like, but I have a different opinion. Like, I always wasn't the best looking female in the room to myself. But it never stopped me from.
You feel like that was lack of confidence?
Nah, that was the truth. I was overweight. You ain't no bad thing and you in the room and you overweight.
Nah, that's real though. That's damn. I like that.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not a lack of confidence.
Nice.
It's the truth. So, and not even saying like, oh, I'm the baddest thing in the room now. No, I don't look at myself that way. But I'm happy that that was my experience because it's humbling. You know what I'm saying? So when you do look a little better, you like, you know what I'm saying? It keeps you level. You know what I'm saying? Because you know that feeling. But women that have pretty privilege, I feel bad for them because I see them get treated the worst. To be honest, because a lot of times, no shade, but like they might be airheads or, you know, that might be all they have to offer. But when you're not the baddest one in the room, you got to offer way more. And that's what makes you dope. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't believe that, I don't believe that you should be treated on according to how you look because you could be dumb. Cute and dumb. Pretty and dumb.
What does love mean to you?
Sacrifice. That's like the best way I could sum it up. Sacrifice, change, progression, process, imperfections, affection, nurturing, providing, hugging, kissing, affection.
So all those things, it sound like even with those things that you said in regards to like, it sound like partnership, but with self-love, I feel like everything you mentioned, you need all of the things that you mentioned for yourself as well.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you can't kiss yourself or hug yourself, but you get what I'm saying.
Sometimes.
I love your technicalities.
Sometimes.
Yeah, you know. But I feel like a hug, for me, a hug or kiss for me could be just say, you know what? I'm listening to some music today.
I'm going to go work out today.
Either way, whatever that may be. Today. Exactly. And that could be your hug or your kiss.
That's absolutely. That might be your sex for the day.
Exactly. Because people use that. People destroy themselves as an outlet to feeling better. Not realizing that they're not really.
They're doing more harm
than good. And the same thing, like, yo, listen, man, I had a rough day. I'm about to
go drink.
I'm about to get a drink. You feel me? So opposed to saying, you know what, I had a rough day. I'm gonna go home and meditate, man. I'm gonna go sit by the water and listen to the water flow.
I'm gonna go to the gym.
Whatever it may be, whatever the person outlet.
You said you said the water. I'm just letting you know what my love
your
is.
outlet, like you know what I'm saying.
Right.
So I'm just giving examples, but I saw yo, damn, we don't even realize that in order to love someone else properly, you have to have self-love first.
You absolutely do.
And if you lack that, you will always have bad relationships. Not always, but
you won't always. You'll kiss a couple of frogs before you get there, or whatever the vice versa for females and males are. You will. You're gonna stumble across a couple of bad apples because you don't know what it looks like. Because you can't do for someone something that you don't do for yourself. You really can't. If you don't know how to talk to yourself in a positive way, how am I supposed to inspire you when I'm like always have negative things to say about myself? And if you always have negative things to say about yourself and you always have positive things to say about other people, there's still a problem here, which is going to come off unattractive to that person that you're pumping positivity to. If they have knowledge, they're gonna be like, "Nah, I can't mess with you. You love me more than you love
yourself,
you," and they gonna want to break up with you.
Right.
That doesn't work.
Right. So you have to have both.
To me, you got to be on the way to getting it, but it has to be somewhere in there.
What's perfection though?
An illusion, fake. I don't believe in perfection.
I think you can't do everything the right way, right?
You can't do nothing the right way because everybody has a different way of doing things.
Right.
It's 2 ways to skin a cat, more than 1 way to skin a cat. So I don't believe in perfection.
So when is a mistake okay?
Anytime. You're gonna have to learn. You gotta make a mistake.
So if you keep making the same mistake,
then that's when we have a problem. But maybe you didn't learn yet.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, maybe you didn't learn yet. But if you've been burned constantly by putting your hand on the stove and you keep going, but some people will make a mistake and not realize, oh, this really hurts. You know what I mean? Like, or this really bothered me this time, or it took something from me. So they might keep making the same mistake. But once it's like hit you hard enough, and you had like you suffered a great loss from it or something, I believe that's when the growth happens. But you're supposed to be able to make mistakes until you die. That's what life is about.
Damn. I think continuously making the same mistake.
Same one is the problem.
Yeah.
It's when you've lost something. Because you can keep making the same mistake and really not seeing what you lost, then who's to say that might just be them? Like, that's like somebody that has a lot of money and they keep, like, they might lose some here and there, like a gambler. They're making a mistake every time they lose, but they don't see it because they have so much money. But that doesn't mean that they don't have a problem. That doesn't mean that they're not making a mistake. I think that was the best example I could come up to. But when they make that bet and they lose $1 million and all they had was $2 million, now they're going to be like, oh, nah, this is crazy. But if they was like $1 million and they keep losing 50, 20.
If the mistake doesn't hit them hard, they don't really learn.
That's what I'm saying. So they're going to keep making that same mistake. So I don't believe that it hits everybody like the same.
But all right, so Michael Jordan, right?
Mm-hmm.
They say he had a gambling problem. I like that example.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael Jordan said, "I don't have a gambling problem. I like to gamble."
Mm-hmm. And he knows that it's wins and losses.
Yeah, I didn't lose my house. I didn't lose my wife. I didn't lose these things. So when I heard him say that, it made me kind of look at things a little bit differently.
He did lose things though.
I don't know about it. From what I heard on The Last Dance, what did he lose?
Well, they talk about how that has something to do with his father dying.
I don't know about that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what the claims were. Like, I watched The Last Dance as well, but even I could remember it from when I was a kid. You know, my mom was a big Michael Jordan fan, and when his dad got found on the side of the highway, they said that was like in the media, but it was kept on the hush. That it might have had something to do with gambling. Even if it wasn't his gambling, it was his father's gambling. Gambling still cost him something. Even if he doesn't know what it is, like it might have cost him his a couple of arguments with his wife. So it might not be money that it cost him, but could have been relationships. It could have been a bunch of different things.
So if you don't learn from certain mistakes and you continuously repeat them, you're going to lose something.
Something
Small
is going to happen. Yes.
But it's not going to be a positive thing.
I mean, the hindsight is positive. Like, what comes out of, like, what's positive or coming out of mistake is like what you realize later. Once you've lost it and now you like, oh, now I don't do that no more because of, that's when it becomes positive. But what you're doing in the process, I guess it's all positive at the end of the day.
I know what you might say.
Mm-hmm.
If you had something to tell your younger self right now, what would you say to yourself? If you could be your younger mentor, you right now was your younger mentor, what would you say to yourself?
Don't worry about what people say. Everybody's always going to have something to say. Just do you. What you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing. Doesn't matter what they think about what you got going on. That's definitely something I would tell myself.
You grew up in a 2-family household?
No, one. Just my mom.
Not having that balance, did you think that it played a role on positive or negative in the way you move today?
It definitely played a major part in who I was and who I am now. Yes, it does. It did. A lack of confidence. Who gives a girl confidence is her dad. So her mother could be as confident as she wants to be, but a man, and some people, women gonna hate it, but he validates that all day. He lets you know, even if you do have a dad in the house, but he doesn't speak well to you as a little girl, could be a problem. So it doesn't really even have to be a 2-family home. It could be the father being around but not around, or it could be him just not there at all. You know, that's who teaches a girl real confidence. It gives her balance on how to deal with men if that's what she's into. Like, so suppose all women were into men. She's not going to be able to really get out there and understand why a man might talk a little harder. So she's going to take it as disrespect. You know, she's not going to understand why he's not as emotional because she's not growing up around that, you know? So for me, I know I would have been a daddy's girl because that's something I always craved, was my dad, to the point where even kind of like made me hang out with more males because I was looking for that balance, not even knowing what you're looking for, but just looking for something, you know, to balance you out. But what it did for me now is to have more compassion for men. You know, like, because when you live in a house with a woman, you only getting one side of the story. And 9 times out of 10, it ain't the good side of the story either. So you want to hear men. For me, I want to hear what the man has to say, because a lot of time why he's not there is not always because he's not shit. Your moms could really not be shit. You know what I mean? So that's what it's done for me now.
It made you curious about like that side, or a man's point of view.
As younger, it made me curious. Now it makes me have compassion and understanding.
Nice.
Yeah. So with my friends, females are actually really upset by that. Like, you have so much faith in men. Why wouldn't I? Like, that's a thing. No. Someone said that to me before. Like, you have a lot of faith in men. Your faith in men, she used the emoji, is mind-boggling. Like, you know, her brain was exploding. Yeah. And I'm just looking like, but why? I've lost a friend for the compassion that I have for men. I guess she wasn't a friend, but she's not my friend anymore.
Wow.
You know, so, yeah. But it's all good.
You feel like black men in particular?
Absolutely. Because when they go to work, they real nice to their white male counterparts. Ha ha ha, Brad. Dante, ill. He be looking at me. Yeah. So absolutely. Black men get it the worst.
Why is that though?
It's
Why you sorry to cut you off. Why do you think that black men, we as a black man, you know, I know I can say that we are full of some shit sometimes. I can't lie to you.
Everyone in the world is, not just black men.
Damn.
Everybody.
Damn, I love the way you respond. How does that, what makes you so compassionate for that though when everyone else is not?
Well, I have 4 brothers. I have 3 nephews. I have a host of uncles that stepped in for my father. So I don't have poor experiences with men. There's only one man in my life that I've come across in life that's for real has done me wrong. Other than that, I've met so many other men and I don't have that experience. So I can't sit here and bad talk them when I don't have that same experience. And I'm not saying that a man didn't break my heart before or anything like that, but nothing to where it's so bad that I can't go on or something so bad that I gotta be like, oh, F all men now. Nah, never that serious. So I can't. I'm starting to realize that too. Like, I can't look at my friends and be like, oh, you bugging for having that. Because I might not have the same experience. But something from a man has violated me before as a young girl. You know, so I do have one poor experience to it where I can look at all men like that. But he's one man. There's a bunch of black men out here, you know what I mean? So why am I going to take one experience, one horrible experience, and then make everybody else pay for it? That doesn't make sense.
So when you hear the term, niggas ain't shit, you're generalizing it.
It really makes me upset.
Because of their past experience with 1 or 2 individuals that...
Yes. And sometimes, just a little sidebar, a lot of times, sometimes, not a lot of times, some women that say that never even was in a committed relationship with a man. So for her to say that ends ain't, it's like, why? You've never even had one commit to you. How could you feel that way? Why do you feel that way? Who hurt theyself is you. You had expectations of somebody that gave you no real reason to have expectations in them. He didn't do anything. He for real kept it a buck with you because he never got into a relationship with you. He could have gotten a relationship and played with you, but he didn't. He kept it as a situationship. So why are you upset with him? Who I would be upset with is the man that I'm fully in a committed relationship with that does something to me that I don't like. And he goes against what we had planned. But if we wasn't in that and he moved how he wanted to move, I have the choice as well to move how I want to move. I'm not going to allow him to hurt. He can't really hurt me. And if I do get hurt, I'm not going to now hate all of them. I would kind of respect him for not making me his girl. That went down like a whole nother way, but that's what came into my mind when I heard ends ain't. I'm really trying to not say that word though.
In order for something to work, both parties have to be fully involved.
I believe so.
On the same mission. Once someone drifts, there's no success. It's hard to come back from that.
I don't believe that.
So how can someone come back from those things?
By the other person forgiving them. By them proving themselves to have been that, you know, maybe they made a mistake or they went out there and did something that they knew wasn't right, and they probably had to get gut punched for them to realize like, oh nah, that was a mistake, even if they didn't feel like it at the beginning. You know, they gotta but now they gotta show and prove. They gotta work themselves back up to, you know, being trustworthy, or, you know, like that they good for it, like their credit is good.
Trust don't say all three. It's equally important. Which is the strongest factor in a relationship? Trust, respect, or love?
Respect. Respect.
Respect over trust and love?
Yes.
Why?
Because there is no respect. There is no love if you don't respect me. You don't love me if you disrespect me. And I look at disrespect completely different. I don't even really look at disrespect as you necessarily telling a lie, because everybody tells lies. I look at disrespect as you wanting to put your hands on me, as you wanting to threaten me. Maybe you bringing somebody to our house. You don't love me if you do that. Anything that you would do, and I see it, and it's crazy, you don't love me. Now, if you try to hide it, you might be a coward, but at the end of the day, you still like, nah, I would never let her see that. You know what I mean? Because you do have a certain level of respect for her, but it might just be some greed. It might just be, not might be. You have your own personal things that are going on.
Right.
You might be greedy. You might be sexual. You might be a sex addict.
Right.
You might need to feel validated by a couple of women because you insecure. Whatever. That's all on you.
Right.
But I don't have to see it and be in it because that's what you got going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? And of course, like, if you diseases and stuff like that, you went out there and had sex with somebody without a condom and we in a relationship, that's disrespectful.
That's crazy.
That's very disrespectful.
Yeah.
But if you strapping it up, you know what I mean? Like, you took the precaution. You thought about me. Because if you didn't have me, you probably would have went in there, without it. But you thought about me.
That's a deep level of understanding.
And even if you didn't think about me, you thought about yourself. That's respecting me at the same time. You know what I mean? And that's why respect, because they got to have respect for themselves. Like, it really comes down to what you got to have for yourself at the end of the day, like we talked about before. So respect is number one.
So you can respect somebody and make a mistake and correct it.
Yeah. I mean, we respect our friends, but that don't mean that we don't get into things with them. We get into tiffs. You might say something to another friend like, yo, this person get on my nerves. If you said it and they hear it back, they're going to get upset about it. Like, yo, you could have said that to me, or why you talk about my back? That don't mean you don't respect your friend. That don't mean that you don't want to be friends no more. You probably was just upset. You probably needed to vent.
That's true.
I look at people like when they have like these relationships and they have their friendships, and I'm guilty of it too. Like, they think their relationships are so different from other relationships. They put these people on a pedestal. You know what I'm saying? So like, if my friend could violate me and I could continue to be friends with them, what's the difference between my man violating me? Why would I not get back with him? It depends on what it is. Now, if my friend steals from me, we not friends no more. You know what I'm saying? You stole something from me, my man steals something from me, I might not be able to talk to you no more either. You know what I mean? It's a relationship. They're people, so it's your choice whether you're going to forgive them and move on. But it's just like any other relationship. Like, they're going to make mistakes. You get mad at your parents. Your parents do things you don't like. But your man, he can't, or your girl, she can't. That's crazy.
That's true. Yeah, damn. And people look at it as if a bad thing. Oh, the person made a mistake, and they're looking like, oh, leave him.
Yeah.
Or do whatever.
That's the whole nother topic.
You know what I'm saying? Right, so it's like, you do something to me, should my man say, stop being friends with her? Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Nobody really says that. Don't talk to D no more.
Right.
Think like, yo, go over there and work it out with your man that's been your man for Nah, she did something you don't like. Don't talk to her no more. That's crazy.
Yeah, damn.
She's not giving grace? Why?
Right.
That's crazy.